Hello everyone! Welcome to this quick tutorial. Sa video na to, ituturo ko po sa inyo kung paano ang mga basic functions ng Google Colab Notebook. But una po sa lahat, kailangan po nating i-open yung Google Drive natin. Tapos pumunta po tayo sa directory or sa folder kung saan gusto natin ilagay yung bagong Google Colab Notebook natin. In my case, nandito po ako sa directory na ito. Under my drive, and then research na folder, and then my tutors folder, and then machine learning mastery with Python folder. Then inside that, meron ding notebooks na folder, at saka lastly, yung session 1 na folder. So, nasa sa inyo na po kung saan nyo po ilagay yung bagong Google Colab notebook. So yun, so the first step natin na gagawin is mag-create po tayo ng bagong Google Colab notebook. So what you need to do is to click the new button, and then under the more, you can find yung Google Colaboratory. And it's wait for a few seconds to load the page. So that depends po sa internet connection nyo, kung gaano ka bilis yung internet connection nyo. So ganito po yung graphical user interface ng Google Colaboratory notebook natin once ma-open na po siya. Ang pinaka-importanting part po dito is sa panel na to, you can actually see here yung cells. Ang tawag po dito ay mga cells. So there are two types of cells po. You can have a code cell, you can insert a code cell, or you can insert a text cell. Ang kaibahan po ng dalawa is yung code cell, dyan po niyo malalagay yung mga code snippets niyo. For example, I want to import NumPy dito sa program natin. Ganyan. So, yan po ang code cell. Ang text cell naman, if I add text cell, ito po ang mga text na actually helpful po siya for documentation. So in this case, maybe I want to create the first section or bagong section. So maybe I rename this as section 1. So you can add some text here, ng ganun, para po uh, sa program niyo. So, depende po sa paano niyo i-organize yung Google Colab notebook niyo. So, yun po. This is a very important po. Kailangan po na hindi kayo malito between sa text cell at saka code cell. For example, nalagay niyo po ditong import numpy as np. Ito po siya, mag-a-appear po ito as a text, not a code. So, meaning, siguro if you want, siguro kung wala ito, and then ganyan, tapos after nito is my code cell, at tapos siguro ipiprint mo yung version niya ng numpy, or sorry, it should be np, and then you run that code. Sa pag-run po ng cell, actually dalawa po ang pwede nyo gawin. You can actually click this logo, the run logo, or you can click the control enter. So in my case, I will just click this run logo. Expected po natin dito is meron siyang error. Tingnan na po natin. So ito po, nakikita nyo may loading around the logo. May loading sign around the logo. So ibig sabihin po niyan, tinatry po niya yung execute yung code. Ganun po. Merong error siya. It's because yung np is hindi po natin na-define. Kasi po, hindi po natin na-run itong line na to. Kasi ito po, invalid po siya na code. Nagiging text po siya. So meaning, hindi po siya kinonsider ni Google Colab Notebook as a code, but it's just a documentation po. So what you actually need to do is put it sa code cell natin. So in that case, to remedy the problem, ganito pong gagawin natin. So yung line nito, ilagay po natin sa code cell. So when you try this one, it would actually print out the version of the NumPy. So ganun po. So yun po, dapat po hindi po kayo malito between text cell at saka code cell. So, yun. Again, yung Excel po, meron po siyang advantage kasi again, in programming, kailangan po natin na mayroong documentation, no? So we put comments to somehow help us to major scenarios. First case po is maybe in the few months, you will revisit your code. So you will relearn what you have programmed in your Google Colab notebook. So your documentation will help you to, remember ang mga code na nasulat mo. Aside from that, the second major case is when you try to share this notebook to maybe to your colleagues and you want them to read your code. And of course, mayroon ding ego natin as a programmer, no, that we want our code as well documented as well as readable siya. So, well, somehow, well documentation is equate equates po siya, naka-equate po siya sa readability. So, good documentation means a readable code. So, ganun po. So, yeah, in this case, gusto po lang natin na i-organize yung Google Colab notebook natin. So, we can actually put some section numbers and maybe put some subsections dito sa Google Colab notebook natin. For example, I will add a text na it would contain a subsection of section 1. For example, subsection of section 1. Section 1. So, in this case po, makikita meron po tayong number signs. No? Kapag kasi isa lang, meaning ito yung section, pinaka-section. If dalawa, that means it's subsection. Similarly po, if we have tatlo, 1, 2, 3, magiging subsection na po siya. So in that case, magiging 1.1.1. Ganun po. And in fact, if we add more, siguro isang section pa, so maybe we add section 2, ganun, we can actually see here na meron po tayong logo for table of contents. Mag-view po natin na makikita po natin dito sa table of contents na our Google Colab is organized, no? Kikita natin dito na under section 1, meron siyang isang subsection. And under subsection 1.1, meron din siyang isang sub-subsection. So, in this case po, pwede po natin i-organize yung code natin based on the topic or based on the themes that we're going to try to explain and maybe execute po dito sa Google Colab notebook natin. So, yun po. Ito pong code and text cells, ito po ang pinaka-basic na need natin ma-learn. And in fact, there are some mga ilang buttons lang po na pwede nating ma-view. So, like file, edit, view, insert, runtime tools, at saka help. Okay? So, dito po sa file, makikita natin yung mga other options. But, I will point out yung isa sa importanteng bagay po dito is yung revision history. So, let's try po to check the revision history. Makikita po ninyo yung mga versions kung saan ginawa ko po yung program at mga changes na nagawa ko po dito. So, makikita niyo po yan. Importante po to kasi baka maybe later on, you want to share this Google Colab notebook to your colleagues. Actually, you can click the share button right here and then pwede mo na siyang ipamahagi sa mga uh, kasama mo sa trabaho. So, yun, your colleagues. No? So, they can also write codes, write sections in your Google Colab. Ganun po. So, pwede din kayong maglagay ng mga comments on the general level or on the section level. Katulad nito. So, meron ding button para dito, add a comment. So, for example, we will just comment here siguro na this section should be named first step. Iwan ko lang bakit yan. But, yeah, ganun. So you can comment that one and then siguro yung main na programmer nyo will change this one and then he will try to resolve yung comment mo. So, mga ganun. Aside from that, you can actually balik tayo sa mga cells. So, aside from providing a comment within cells, pwede po natin ma-rearrange yung cells. For example, I really want to to make this section 1 appear doon sa pinakauna talaga ng unang bahagi ng Google Colab natin. So, I will move it by moving it up. Yung ganun. So, yeah. Siguro din, I will want this, siguro, I will add a new code, siguro skill learning yung import ko. Then, I will add this code, siguro under section 2. So, you just move it by clicking the button. Yung ganun. So, yan. So, you can do that. So, you can rearrange, no? Yung codes ninyo. So, meron ditong edit, meron mga functions nan, but I will just point out dito sa runtime kasi ito po yung may importanteng maidulot doon sa Google Colab natin. So, in this case kasi pwede nating maparun lahat ng mga cells from top to bottom. So, by clicking the run all or making the shortcut key na Control F9, it will run the code from start to bottom. So, makikita po nyo from section 1, pumunta po siya sa section 2. Yung ganun. Okay? So, let's try dito na i-print natin yung sklearn that version. Okay? Okay, so yan. And then, we can run before, I can run focus cells, run selection, run after. But most of the time, ang ginagamit ko po is yung run all among these options here. The interrupt execution po, if magagamit nyo po siya if somehow merong infinite loop sa program nyo and you want to, interrupt the execution of the program. Or ang isa sa case, importanteng most of the case na nakiklik talaga ito interrupt execution is when we do model training. That means we feed the input data, yung dataset natin doon sa network, and then we allow the model na mag-train siya based sa data natin. At sometimes kasi if very complicated yung model natin, yung machine learning algorithms na ginawa natin, that means mas complicated siya, so mas matagal din siyang mag-run. So, if mas matagal siya mag-run, maybe at some point in time, naisipan nyo nga, i-interrupt ko na lang muna kasi meron pa akong idadagdag sa notebook ko. So, yung mga ganun. For example, this one, very common po ito na nangyari in my experience po, no. When I try to run the program lahat, and then, yun na, nag-train na siya for 1 hour, and then I realized na mali po yung ginawa ko sa mga previous na cell, like, mali po yung data splitting na ginawa ko, yung mga ganon. So, yun, na-waste yung 1 hour ko, and then, of course, I don't want to waste another hour para lang matapos yung whole program. Na alam ko naman na mali yung ginawa ko. So, instead of, yun, ipapatuloy ko pa siya, I will just interrupt the execution para po maputol yung execution na at saka yun, ma-apply yung changes natin. Restart runtime. So, ang runtime po ay meron po siyang dalawang types or dalawang cases. You can actually connect to hosted runtime or connect to local runtime. So, the hosted runtime, alam niyo po na yung Google Colab, by default, nakakonect po siya sa hosted runtime. Ibig sabihin po doon is nakakonect po siya sa Google servers. So, your code is actually running on the Google Engine API, no? So, doon po siya nagra-run. So, if you connect it to local runtime, ang gagawin po niya is kukonect po siya sa local setup nyo, sa CPU ng personal computer nyo or sa GPU ng personal computer nyo. So, merong advantage and disadvantages ang dalawang options na to. But, isa sa mga disadvantage ng local runtime, again, is yung magdidepende yung speed ng training mo sa speed talaga ng personal computer mo. So, if may, may slow computer ka, so magiging problema din yan. So, ganun. So, well, in our training workshop, we would actually use hosted runtime lang, no? So, uniformly para wala tayong problema in the end. And we can view resources like ilang RAM nang na-consume niya at saka ilang disk yung na-consume niya. And then we have manage sessions. Under manage sessions, makikita niyo po kung ano ang mga file na nag-run actively at the moment. In my case, meron na po akong na-run kanina na ito. So, hindi ko po siya na-terminate. So, nag-appear po siya dito. And this one is the current session natin. Tingnan nyo na, Untitled 0 po siya. Yun. Let's say I want to terminate yung previous na file ko. So, just click on that. Then, isa na lang po yung file na nag-appear dito. Ganito po kasi, yung Google Colab, kasi free siya, meron din namang mga limitations. So, limited lang po tayo hanggang at siguro 4 sessions. Kapag lumampas na po tayo ng 4 sessions, I believe Google will tell you to terminate one session. Yung ganun. So, yeah. You need to select kung ano yung i-close mo na file. And then, next, yun. Okay. So, runtime. Aside from restart runtime, we can actually do the restart and run all. Ibig sabihin po is restart runtime at saka run all. So instead of doing 2 clicks, 1 click na lang. And my personal experience, ito na po yung ginagawa ko. Minsan, ayaw ko na lang po siyang yung 2 click pa. So parang if I do restart and run all, I could save few clicks and yun, makasave din ng time. So, yung mga ganun. Change runtime type. So actually, dito mo yun makikita kung ano yung resources na ginagamit mo. In my case, by default, yung notebook natin, hindi po siya nakakonect to GPU at saka TPU. Nakakonect po siya sa CPU, no, ng Google servers. So yun. You can click the CPU but make sure lang po na yung code nyo talaga is gumagamit ng GPU. So, may specific command po kung paano i-allow mo yung Google Colab mo to connect with the GPU. For example, for deep learning, gagamit po kayo ng mga library like Torch, yung mga ganun, or Keras, or TensorFlow, mga ganun. So, mayroong specific na APIs na i-allow po nyo yung program nyo to connect with GPU as well as yung TPU. But in our case naman, mga dataset kasi natin dito sa training workshop ay mga ano lang, mga numbers that nakasave to an Excel file or CSV file. So, maliit-liit lang siya na dataset unlike images yung dataset natin. So, dito sa training workshop natin, we just use the default na CPU lang po yung gagamitin natin. Okay. So, I guess that's it po. Thank you.